My daughter, who lives abroad in California, sent me a whole box of strawberries I hear are pretty pricey. I happily washed them 3 times with salt water like she told me and was just about to dig in when my 1-year-old grandson, Timmy, started crying. By the time I finished feeding him and came back out, all that was left on the coffee table were a few strawberry leaves. My husband of 35 years, John, blamed me for being careless, saying I should have used a proper bowl instead of a colander. "I don't know what you do all day," he grumbled. "Look at this coffee table, soaked." Our son, Mike, swallowed the last bite of strawberries without looking up from his video game. "Mom, these are good. Ask Lisa where she got them. I want to get some for Emily. She's been working crazy hours lately, and I need to treat her." Staring at the water stains on the table, I suddenly felt like this life was completely meaningless. So I turned and called my daughter. "That visa you mentioned last time, can we still apply for it?" Later, Lisa posted a video of me picking huge strawberries on a farm in Oregon, laughing like I'd knocked 10 years off my age. That's when the father and son started squawking. "Over a few strawberries? Why would you even leave?" John huffed, propped up on the chaise lounge with a cigarette. "Thinking about being a nanny at your age? They'll probably fire you within a week." Looking at his face, one I'd stared at for 35 years, I suddenly felt sick, like I was staring at a pile of cow manure back on the old farm. I walked over and snuffed out his cigarette. He froze, shocked. "What's your problem?" I grabbed a cloth and wiped the table. "Emily said no smoking in the house. Timmy's too little for secondhand smoke." John glared. "I wasn't even near the kid. It'll air out in 5 minutes." When he tried to light another, I slammed the cloth down. "No. Smoking." My raised voice finally got Mike's attention. He looked up from his phone, glanced between us, then shrugged and headed to his room, still shouting at his game. "Go, go, go. I'll tank the tower." I've always had a reputation for being meek. In all these years, I've hardly argued with John. Anytime I'd get upset, he'd say, "Mary, think you're tough now? Don't forget I've busted my ass all these years to keep a roof over your head. Be grateful." Just like now, after I snapped at him, he started puffing up again. "You must be losing it. Act like a lunatic over nothing? If you hate my smoking so much, get out of my house." "This is my house too," I shot back. "Joint property. You can't kick me out." Lisa taught me that line. Ever since she moved out, she's called me a doormat, saying I've let John walk all over me for decades. Women hold up half the sky, Mom. Are you really gonna spend the rest of your life waiting on them? You're only in your 50s, come see the world with me instead. I used to not know how to respond. For decades, everyone told me this was normal. My late mom, John's mom, all of them said men were the head of the household, that women should yield for family harmony. But Lisa says that's bull, that marriage is a partnership, and staying home with kids is just as hard as working. After hearing it enough, I guess some of it stuck. John didn't know how to handle me standing my ground. He just huffed like an angry bull, but he didn't light another cigarette. I looked at the empty colander and said quietly, "Lisa bought these for me." I didn't even get to taste one. "What?" He looked confused. I repeated it. His jaw dropped. "You're throwing a fit over strawberries? How old are you, 5? "Yeah, just strawberries." But after decades of cooking, cleaning, raising 2 kids, and caring for his parents, I'd never once bought myself strawberries. When I was young, we couldn't afford them. Now that I'm older, my husband calls me childish for wanting them. "Fine, just go buy a pound if you want them so bad." Never seen such a dramatic old lady. John said it like he was doing me a favor, no doubt expecting me to apologize like always. But I ignored him, grabbed my ID and passport from the bedroom, and walked out. Lisa had gotten me a passport 6 months ago, hoping I'd visit her in Australia. I'd been too busy with a new baby then. Now, when I told her I was ready, she squealed and called her friend Emma to help me with the visa. Emma was amazing patient, never once sighing when I mixed up forms. It'll take a week at most, Mrs. Johnson. I'll text you as soon as it's approved. A week. Not long at all. On the way home, the air felt sweeter, even the golden retriever in the elevator seemed friendlier. I've always been scared of dogs, but today I reached out and petted him. He didn't bite, just wagged his tail. That good mood lasted until I got home. Before I even opened the door, I heard Emily yelling, "Is he not your son? You can't even check on him once? Letting a baby starve like this? Is everyone in this house brain dead?" I paused, then walked in like I'd heard nothing. The second Mike saw me, he jumped on me like I was the villain. "Mom, where were you all afternoon? Timmy's been screaming his head off." John suddenly perked up too, strutting out of the bedroom. "If you're going out, take the baby with you. We don't know how to handle him." He cried nonstop. "And you didn't even leave a note? Now it's dinner time and there's nothing to eat." Great job. I tried to let it go. After all, I'd be leaving soon. But I couldn't hold back. Then learn. Lisa says no one is born knowing how to cook or clean. John's never washed a single dish in his life. Well, starting today, neither will I. If they can't cook, they can starve. John must have sensed I was still mad from earlier. He shut up, though he kept shooting me dirty looks. But Mike was still steaming from Emily's earlier scolding. "Mom, what's gotten into you? You trying to wreck this family? Emily's been working her ass off all day, and I finally get a day off. You're the only one with free time. Who else is gonna cook?" I ignored them and shut myself in the bedroom, leaving the three of them gaping at each other in the living room, their muffled whispers seeping through the door. "Dad, what's her problem?" "Hell if I know. All bark and no bite. She's been whining about not getting any strawberries like a damn toddler." "Ugh, over that? I should have saved her a couple. Just buy more tomorrow, right?" Emily didn't chime in. She grabbed Timmy and headed to her mom's place. I skipped cooking that night. And the next morning's breakfast too. For the first time in decades, I slept in late while chaos erupted outside. Mike overslept and scrambled to get ready for work. "Mom, where's my white dress shirt? I need it for a meeting today. Did you iron it?" "Haven't washed it." "What do you mean?" Mike looked panicked. John trailed after him, nagging me to get up. "Fine, skip the laundry, but your son's late for work. At least make some noodles. I need to eat before meeting Tom for fishing." I pulled the covers over my head. "Not feeling well. Cook for yourselves." Silence. Then John snorted. "Whatever. I'll just eat out. We don't need you, you know. Keep this up and see how long you last. We'll just hit diners every night, see if you care." 6 days, I thought. By then, they'll have to learn. Once they left, I called my friend Carol. She'd widowed young and struck it rich with a condo renovation, now spent her days at the mall or yoga. When she heard about Australia, she dragged me to Nordstrom. "You can't show up in rags. Look at those sleeves, they're see-through. I've seen that shirt since 2005. The mirror showed my graying temples and frayed cuffs. For a second, I saw the girl I used to be, 20, obsessed with fashion, the one John had promised to keep young forever. Now I was just middle-aged. Carol picked out a dozen outfits, offering to pay. I refused, sticking to one blouse, $98, yikes. But then I thought of John's $800 fishing rods gathering dust in the garage. So I added a matching skirt, totaling $249. A lucky number, I told myself. When I got home, Mike was still at work, but John was already back, slouching on the couch like he'd been waiting. His eyes flicked to the shopping bags, then away. On the coffee table sat a plastic bag of strawberries, limp, bruised, clearly day-old rejects. Cost me $6 a pound. Eat, then make dinner. They weren't washed. Of course not. John wouldn't touch damaged goods. Just like old times, he and the kids got the best. I got scraps. Back then, we were broke. Now he had a $3,000 per month pension. I dumped the strawberries in the trash right in front of him. They're rotten. Before he could explode, I added, Emily called her dad's coming for dinner. He's in a wheelchair now. Emily's dad had suffered a stroke last year, now half paralyzed. She wheeled him in, explaining, hiring a nurse costs $1,500 a month. Our combined income's $4,500. If we move him here, we can rent out his condo and split caregiving. The storage room can be his bedroom. Before I could respond, John and Mike nodded eagerly. Absolutely. A son-in-law's duty, John declared. No problem, Em. With all of us here, he'll be fine, Mike added. The braised pork ribs tasted like cardboard. I looked up at them. Who's going to do the caregiving? You. Mike worked 60-hour weeks. John couldn't boil water. I knew exactly who'd be stuck with diapers, meals, and midnight bedpans, the same person who'd nursed John's parents for 7 years. The memory of those sleepless nights, the screaming, the endless laundry. I felt nauseous. My voice was calm, but the table froze. John scowled. What's with the attitude? You've done this before. What's the big deal? He slammed his bowl down. And that $250 outfit you bought? Gold-plated? I let it slide, but don't push it. Keep this up, and I'll cut your allowance. Divorce flashed in my head. Why hadn't I thought of it before? Seeing my silence, John softened, slightly. I bought you strawberries today. Be reasonable. Mike chimed in, yeah, Mom. I'm your son. A little help isn't too much to ask. His face, so like John's at 30, twisted with entitlement. I'm done helping. John's bowl flew across the table, shattering on the floor. Fine. We don't need you. I'll take care of it myself. Mike, you hear me? From now on, she's not your mother. I stared at the blood on my hand, stunned. By the time I snapped out of it, everyone had left the table. Mike muttered as he walked away, Mom, don't blame Dad. You're overreacting to nothing. That night, I called Lisa about divorce. The next day, true to their word, John and Mike moved Emily's dad in as soon as the nurse left. Meanwhile, Lisa texted that my expedited visa was approved and my flight was booked, departing the day after tomorrow. Don't worry, Mom. I'll be right there when you land. Some mother-daughter intuition kept us silent about the trip. Emily's dad arrived, and John actually tried to care for him, for about an hour. He gagged changing diapers, retched while bathing him, and by evening, when Mike got home, John was whining like a toddler. My back's killing me. Some people just sit on their ass all day watching TV, no damn gratitude. I ignored him, sorting my potted plants on the balcony. The Rieger begonias were finicky. I couldn't take them to Australia, so I'd give them to Carol. John kept sniping, Mike joined in, both waiting for me to cave, like always. But I turned and shut the bedroom door. I knew their game. Pretend to help, then dump everything on me. Not this time. John, used to my compliance, assumed I'd fold. When his buddy Tom called to fish the next day, he answered on speaker, loud enough for me to hear. I said nothing, just left before him in the morning. What I didn't expect, my key wouldn't open the door when I returned. John had installed a new lock. I called Mike, he stammered, just apologize to Dad, Mom. I have work. I can't get in the middle. I knew then John did this on purpose. Through the door, I heard him shout, ready to come crawling back? Stay out there, then. Standing there, memories flooded in. Decades ago, shortly after Mike's birth, I'd found John flirting with our neighbor. I'd fled to my sister's with the baby, ready to leave. But my sister complained, we can't feed extra mouths. Married women don't run home like this. My mom said, men wander, just keep the family together. So I'd crept back, only for John to lock me out then too, until the baby's screams forced him to relent. Why now? Lisa had asked last night. Now I had my answer. Some choices can't wait a lifetime. Luckily, I'd already sent my bags to Carol's. She put me up and at dawn, drove me to LAX. Before boarding, my phone buzzed. Mike, Mom, stop being stubborn. Just call Dad and say sorry. You're making Emily and me look bad. John, Mary Johnson. Think you're tough? Fine, let's get a divorce. I texted okay, switched off my phone, and inserted the new SIM Lisa's friend had given me. Carol raised an eyebrow. Really doing this? I smiled. I've got decades left. Time for a new script. John had never felt so unraveled. After texting Mary, he called Mike, confident. She'll be begging to come back in days. Sure, Dad. Just hold on a few days, then she'll take over, Mike said. But before he could hang up, Emily's dad called from the living room, needing a diaper change. In the nursery, Timmy wailed, hungry. John rushed between them, fumbling. The glass bottle slipped, crashing to the floor. Milk pooled everywhere. As he grabbed the mop, he slipped, hitting his head on the crib. Stars danced in his vision. Timmy's cries turned purple-faced. Cradling the baby, John stared out the window. 30 years ago flashed back, Mary, postpartum, trying to bathe 2-year-old Lisa after she'd fallen in a mud puddle while newborn Mike screamed. John, can you mix some formula? I can't do both. He'd snapped. Can't you handle anything? God, she reeks. Keep her away from me. Now, alone in the quiet, after Timmy finally slept, John stared at his bruised elbow. For the first time, he wondered, how had Mary done this alone, day after day, for decades? And why had it taken her leaving for him to ask? And after that? John didn't bother feeding the baby. He used overtime as an excuse to go play poker. By the time he came home, Mike was fed and asleep, Lisa bathed and quiet. John had never wondered how Mary managed both kids that day, just assumed she could, so why ask for help? Must have been her way of whining. But now, that trivial memory hit him like a freight train. From then on, Mary never asked him to watch the kids again. He'd coasted for decades. Now, suddenly, his wife of 35 years had gone on strike. No cooking, no cleaning, no babysitting. She'd gone woke, talking about gender equality. Equality? Since when? He thought of his last text to Mary. Maybe he should apologize. They were too old for this. But when he picked up his phone, all he saw was her single reply, okay. Okay to what? Divorce? A month into Australia, Lisa's neighbors, a young couple named Alex and Sam, asked if I'd cook for them. They couldn't boil water but craved home cooking. After tasting my food, they'd begged. Lisa hugged my arm. I don't need you to work, Mom. My salary covers us. But it's your call. I hesitated, twisting my hands. Are you sure? It's just home cooking. I'd never had a real job, always kids, in-laws, chores. Back in Ohio, I'd raised chickens for extra cash, but John kept the money. In the city, I'd sewn buttons for pennies, just to buy the kids sneakers. A job offer? Unthinkable. Lisa rolled her eyes. Mom, your dumplings could make a Michelin chef cry. Dad and Mike are idiots for taking you for granted. Her flattery worked. Maybe. I'll try. On a tourist visa, I couldn't work officially, but they gave me a household assistant contract, complete with a fancy card. Alex nearly cried when I agreed. You're a lifesaver. From now on, you're my Aussie mom. Every day, they'd waggle their eyebrows at me like that golden retriever in the elevator. Mama J, what's for dinner? That eggplant casserole yesterday was life-changing. OMG, pork belly. How are you a wizard? Can I request mapo tofu? And are those xiaolong bao? I'll take them all. Don't worry about tomorrow. Lisa scoffed. They're just trying to steal your dumplings. A month later, Lisa handed me an envelope. They couldn't pay you directly, but my company partners with theirs. Consider this your salary. I counted the notes, $1, $200. How much is that in dollars? Lisa smirked. About 4 renminbi and 80 cents to the dollar. Do the math. My hands shook. I'd never held so much money at once. This is too much. She definitely patted it. Mom, your food is worth every cent. People would kill for your soup dumplings. Her smile faded. Dad called me. I'd blocked John and Mike's numbers, but they'd bombarded Lisa with texts. Your mother's midlife crisis is embarrassing. She'll be back soon. Tell your mom to grow up. The baby's sick of my cooking. Lisa snorted. No wonder I'm single. 2 grown men, 0 self-awareness. I felt guilty for her childhood, but I'd fought John to send her to college. When he'd refused to pay her tuition, I'd sold my wedding ring and borrowed from Carol. Lisa, top of her class, had cried, "Why does Mike get new Jordans while I can't go to school? I'll show him. I'll make enough to buy you a mansion." Sending her to college was the bravest thing I'd done. Otherwise, she might have ended up like me, married to a man who'd call strawberries a luxury. 15 days into my trip, John cracked. Between Timmy's nonstop crying, mountains of laundry, burnt meals, and Emily's dad's care, he was unraveling. One night, he texted Lisa, "Tell your mother. Tell her the baby misses her." Lisa showed me the message. I just smiled and handed her another batch of freshly steamed dumplings. Late one night, John finally cracked, calling Lisa in tears. "Lisa, your mother's heart is stone. I'm so exhausted I can't stand straight. I haven't slept in days. Please make her come back. Your dad's gonna die here. I'll buy her strawberries every day, I swear." Lisa smirked. "Dad, Mom's with me." Dead silence. Then John exploded. "She went to Australia." "When?" "You two kept this from us." Before he could rage, Lisa hung up. Carol later told me the call sent John to the ER that night. Thankfully, just stress. But after discharge, he became obsessed with buying strawberries. Mike, stuck caring for 2 invalids and a baby, lost 20 pounds in a month. They hired a nanny, $3,000/month, negotiated down to $2,800. When Mike found my number, he sobbed, "Mom, don't abandon me. I'm dying here. We're sorry, please come home." Hearing my son cry hurt. I'd carried him for 9 months, watched him take his first steps. As a boy, he'd kissed my wounds, translated as woodcutting scars, and hugged me after John's drunk rages. He'd promised to take me to Paris, to feed me caviar. Now he was just another John. But Lisa was right. They weren't sorry, they were inconvenienced. Sorry I'd stopped cleaning their messes, not sorry for decades of messes. The next spring, Lisa drove me to an Oregon strawberry farm. We picked white, red, and even pink berries. She posted photos on Instagram, "Strawberry heaven for the woman who deserves it all." Comments poured in. "Is this your sister? OMG, that's my friend's mom. Her dumplings are life." Goals: retire and travel the world. Mike commented, "Mom looks 10 years younger." John, clueless on social media, spent hours staring at the photos on Mike's phone. "Your mother was beautiful when we met," he murmured. I fell in love at first sight. Then, sighing, "Just strawberries? Why can't she come back?" They still didn't get it. Not about the strawberries. About the decades of unpaid labor, the invisibility, the small things that crushed me. "They're not clueless," Lisa said. "They're just selfish." Admitting your worth means they'd have to pay for it, and they'd rather pretend it's all about fruit. In Australia, my days were full but easy. I cooked for Alex and Sam, but now I had a washer-dryer, a dishwasher, even a dog that self-fed. My savings grew, and for the first time, I felt financially secure. I decided, if Lisa stayed single, I'd stay with her. If she married, I'd retire to a sunny town, Phoenix, maybe. After 18 months, I returned to the US with Lisa. Carol met us at the airport, glowing with her new boyfriend. No rings, she insisted. Why tie myself down? I'm enjoying the ride, she laughed. I high-fived her. Carol's lawyer helped me file for divorce. I waived the house, but demanded 70% of our savings compensation for the college fund John had denied Lisa. When we appeared in court, John looked 10 years older, gaunt, gray, eyes hollow. We'd been apart a year, but it felt like a lifetime. Seeing me, he whispered, "Mary." The judge awarded me the savings. As we left, John grabbed my arm. "Can we talk?" I shook him off. "We had 35 years to talk, John. Now I have better things to do." Outside, Lisa handed me a strawberry from her bag. "Sweet, juicy, mine. Ready to go home, Mom?" I smiled. Home was no longer a place where I picked up endless sesame seeds, petty chores. Home was wherever I chose to grow. And right now, I was starving for more strawberries. "Mary, why divorce? 35 years, we've spent half our lives together. How'd we end up here?" John's voice trembled, his bloodshot eyes pleading. He looked like a man staring into an empty abyss, like my leaving was the end of his world. Wait, I had seen this look before. 30 years ago, when my parents preferred my other suitor, a guy who'd offered a bigger dowry. John had sprinted from the factory to my house, losing a shoe and scraping his knee. Too ashamed to face my parents, he'd hidden in the chicken coop until midnight, whispering as I locked up the hens, "Mary, don't marry him. I'll get promoted soon. I'll save up. Just wait for me." In the moonlight, his eyes had been so earnest, so pure. "I'll treat you right. You'll be first in everything. Just marry me." I'd married him, full of hope, only to lose myself in the marriage. Now, decades later, he begged again, but my hope had turned to ash. I looked at him firmly. "John, I'm done. Not because of strawberries. I just don't want to be buried as Mrs. John Smith. I hate that even in death, I'd still be labeled as yours." His shoulders, hunched like a heavy weight, had crushed him. His eyes dulled, eyelashes trembling. "I'm sorry, Mary." After the divorce, Lisa decided to move back to the US. "Australia's great, but I miss home," she said. The young couple, Alex and Sam, clung to me weeping. "Mama J, we'll starve without you. Our kitchen's already caught fire twice." Lisa rolled her eyes, prying them off me. "She's my mom. I taught you guys recipes for a year. Use them." "Where will you go?" they wailed. Lisa had a plan. Santa Fe, New Mexico. Year-round spring, open skies. We'll run a B&B, adopt rescue dogs, and film vlogs. "I'll make you a TikTok star, Mom." We did just that. The B&B garden bloomed with my favorite peonies, and the begonias Carol had nursed back to life. Lisa's videos of me cooking and gardening went viral. Fans called me Auntie Farmhouse, and soon, guests flocked for my home-cooked meals. "I never thought chopping veggies in a tiny kitchen would mean so much," I told Lisa. "You were gaslit for decades," she said. "Out here, people appreciate hard work." I asked about John and Mike. Turns out, John now watches my cooking tutorials daily, though his scrambled eggs still come out rubbery. Mike, scolded by Emily, now does laundry and diaper changes. "Mom, I get it now. Emily told me over FaceTime. This house falls apart without you." I'm teaching Timmy early no boys club in this family. Once, I mispronounced a feminist slogan, "Gals help gals." Emily laughed so hard Timmy joined in, babbling gaga. One sunny morning, Lisa yelled from the garden, "Mom, guests want today's menu." "Coming." "Stop murdering my roses. You're a PhD, not a plant killer." "Mom, I will master this. PhDs can grow things too." Sunlight filtered through the blossoms, lighting her determined face, the same look she'd had at 18, fighting John for college. I brushed a leaf from her hair. "I know you will, honey. You can do anything." And she will. My Lisa always has, always will. End.